maybe let's talk about the software I'm using. So I'm using Ableton Live, which runs all the basic tracks. Ableton Live is a software program specifically designed for live performance. It's also recording software, right? Just like Logic Audio or Cubase. So I run my, like basic tracks of Ableton, and I control these tracks over here with the Akai APC 40, which is a MIDI controller. You see all these buttons here, right? So I can just going to launch something like this. The light is pretty bright here, so you cannot really see how those buttons light up when you push them. All right, so well, there's a ton of things you can do with this controller connected to a software like Ableton here. So basically, what I did is I run, or what I do is I run all my tracks separate, right? So on the left side, I got my bass loops. All right, that's one sound. So it's bass. With these bank select buttons, you can move up and down. So as you can see, there's well, I don't really know if you can see that on the video. So I organized myself with having the bass sounds on the first vertical line. Then on the second, I run additional drums. Well, most of the time. Here's a bass. All right. On the third row, I usually place additional percussion loops, something like this. There's some beatboxing going on here. So basically, I have all my instruments separate here, right? Like to the far right, it's usually a vocals sitting there.
They say I made it through the stormy weather. They say I made it through the stormy weather.
Right, and then I have additional sounds here, like some, pads, keyboard loops, organs, all kinds of things. Some additional percussion here. Now, the great thing about this is I can mix and match all these sounds, right? So on the horizontal lines, I basically have these are my songs, but live on stage, I also like to mix and match the sounds, like to alter alter my songs, right? Which makes it really interesting and fun to perform, because I'm basically creating music live on stage, right? So quite often I'm playing songs I've never played before, right? Because I might run a bass from this song, might run vocals from a different song. So I can just choose, mix and match whatever I want, right? So truly, when I pre-produce my sounds and loops, I make sure that they're in the same key, right? They have to fit, otherwise you're gonna run into trouble there for sure. All right, so my entire live set runs on 174 BPM. So that tempo doesn't change. Then the next thing we could talk about is you might have noticed this, like if I launch a clip and then let's say I add the drums, I can push them anytime, but they won't start right away. Right? You see that? And again. So the way it's set up is I got it set, I don't know if you can see that on the left here, I got it set on, just a sec, on 2 bars. That means it basically, Ableton runs in a cycle, in a loop, and I can push this button anytime, but it won't come in before the end of the next 2 bars, right? So it basically always starts on beat 1, and the whole thing runs on the 2-bar loop, right? There's other options too. You can choose 1 bar or even an 8th note, or 4 bars, 8 bars. A lot of options in Ableton. 2 bars kind of works well for what I do, because it still gives me enough time to play drum fills or fiddle around with effects, right? Yeah, let's talk about effects quickly. So let's say if I have something running, like a scene like this. Now I have these effects. I can also manipulate the sound with. This, for example, like I got an EQ section down here. Yeah, they're pretty common DJ effects, right? Like I said, we're not going to go into the details here, but basically gain, large reverb, delay, EQs, that's what it is, right? Then down here, this is also worth mentioning. If I have a loop running like I just did, turn off the additional So that's another fun thing to do live on stage. So basically, I can turn off the drums by moving the crossfader to the left, and I can play only the drums and percussion by moving it to the right. Doesn't do that automatically. I had to program this, so I'm just running certain tracks on the A side and certain tracks on the B side. That's how it works. Then in addition, it has solo sections. And of course, every track here has its own fader. I use Q level to, this is basically the volume, like the way I programmed this, it's the volume for my click track. Like I have to, well, I don't really have to, but I prefer to play with a metronome, especially because of the sometimes really crazy transitions I do. So if I have something like this running, this can be very deceiving. If I come in like that after a break, it's really helpful to have a click track running, because otherwise you with heavy delays like that, you might lose the tempo pretty quick here. All right, that's a lot to talk about, right? So basically, like all these sounds, you know, the drum kit, the SPDSX, the APC 40, well, basically running Ableton here, they of course have audio output, and this runs all into my rack down here. So I have I'm using a Roland Octa Capture interface and some well mixers, right, and a power bar to power all the instruments and bring the sounds together and mix the click track. Obviously, you don't want to have the click track out on the PA system, right? So that's why I need to pre-mix everything. Yeah, so basically that's how that works. Then of course in my TD30 I have a lot of prepared let's say drum and bass specific drum kits, right? So I'm using this is actually one of the preset kits I'm using. Also, although I changed a couple of sounds in there. Yeah, maybe let's start with that. Yeah, I'm going to show you some of the different drum kits, and then later I'm gonna show you how everything comes together.